D&D is a fantasy game where the word creative freedom has almost no boundaries. With around a dozen unique classes to choose from, not including Ranger, backgrounds that fill the void in your character's lifetime from when you were just a wee bab up until now, and personality traits to make your hot boy sizzle like an overcooked steak Golden Corral, almost no Dungeons & Dragons character is ever made alike. But you've already read the title of this video, so I'm not going to be talking about the unique snowflake characters of D&D, but rather the ones that were made with more questionably original content. There's a lot of factors that go into creating a character for any game or project. People can't just sit down and instantly create a Picasso or the Mona Lisa. It takes time, a lot of renditions, and a lot of paper. But we don't have time for that, so now what? Well, what do we have to work with? Our brains? What? No, are you crazy? That's not a tool for creation. Get your head out of the clouds. Oh, I know! The internet! What a stable source for original content! I'm not gonna lie when I say that most of the characters that I create in D&D are influenced in some way or another by fan culture. Be it from that awesome video game character that I thought was cool, to the other video game character I thought was cool. Now that I think about it, a lot of my characters are inspired by video games. But whatever. You may think that there's only one or two ways to make an unoriginal character, but there's actually 3 types of ways to do it. Now, I'm not hating on any specific ways to build a character, and I'm just addressing some of the pitfalls of using unoriginal characters, and how it could affect the table in most D&D games. It's not really a bad thing when the player comes to the table with an unoriginal character, so long as the other players and the DM are cool with your concept. So consider this video as my exaggerated opinion, rather than any sort of fact. We don't do facts on this channel. We're not Wikipedia. Now, so I don't sound like I'm hating towards anyone in particular, let's start with the types of characters that I'm usually guilty of creating. Let's call this group the copycats. Now, copycats are the types to take personality traits from one character and use them in their own. A lot of my creations fall into this list because if you think about it, movie and video game characters already have so much detail stitched into their designs. So it'd make sense for my worthless empty brain to lead towards wanting to rob from them. Now, using a fan character as a base for your own concept isn't a bad thing, and in the end it could make your character a lot more appealing. You gotta make sure that what you take fits with the design of your character. To give you an idea on what a copycat looks like, when I first began playing D&D, I made a half-elf rogue named Loki Grandel. I got inspiration from the Norse god Loki, and I wanted to play a character with a similar conniving personality. Someone charming and slick. Loki was my inspiration, so I dabbed a bit of his charm onto my character and boom! I had a cool character concept. So, the next type of character plagiarism is a little bit more involved than the first, in that it takes a little bit more convincing to get people believing that your character is actually original. Skinners are the types to get so attached to a fan character's physique that they fantasize carving out that character's body and wearing them as a skin suit. Ugh. In normal people terms, these players just like the way that the fan character looks and wants to roleplay as someone who looks like them. I see this a lot in my campaigns, and there's a lot of creative ways that you could go about it. Firstly, something that Skinners are really attached to is the physical appearance of their senpai, which means that unlike copycats, they're usually more open to creating a unique personality for their character, rather than just pirating one and calling it a day. However, when the group meets up for the first time and it's your turn to describe how your character looks, you instead give a perfect description of Mega Man. It's obvious that the people around the table are probably going to assume that your character is Mega Man, regardless of the backstory and personality traits that you gave her. Yes, you didn't even wait until I mentioned their gender, you impatient monster. This is my OC, Mega Woman. That doesn't sound right. But I digress. It's the way you steal your senpai's face that matters. If you're guilty of being a Skinner and you need some pro tips from a cool guy, then don't worry, bro, or female bro. I have you covered. It's always a good idea to stay open to the idea of your character changing. Stay loose and ready to imagine your character as an unusual class, new clothing, or even a different gender. If you're fine with that, then cool. Giving your character traits that set them apart from the original design should help your case when you need to explain how this character is nothing like that other guy you're probably thinking of. I try after that to show the table that my character isn't just Link, but rather Birdinghammer, barbarian elf and savior of the Seven Isles. He's blonde, strongly built, and wields a legendary weapon named the Master Axe, which he uses to seal the evil within the realm. A quest, he's heard, is required to unlock the weapon's true power. So yeah, there are ways to make awesome character designs off of original characters, and sometimes it comes out even better than you'd imagine. Or you can just steal everything from the original. If you really like Senpai's abs that much, I'm not gonna judge. Skinners may be something, but are nearly as plagiaristic as character type number 3. These PCs are the ones that merge the copycat's way of mimicking personalities with the Skinner's way of mimicking appearance. I'm gonna call these guys the cloners. Cloners take their senpai's personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws, and face and stick it onto themselves. At this point, the player who designed this creative masterpiece is just RPing as this character. Cloners are usually the ones to attempt to recreate their senpais in the game as similarly as possible to the original, giving them a fitting set of abilities that they could imagine that character using. Frankly, unless your DM accepts plagiarism in his classroom, or no one else has ever heard of what game or movie your character comes from, these types of designs can just kill the immersion. Like, imagine a party of diverse, varying characters, and just right in the middle pops Mario, Master Plumber and Savior of the Princess Peach! Now, that could be hilarious, and yes, it'd be awesome to see Mario storm a castle with his allies and fight a dragon turtle to save his best girl. But there's a few problems with that. Cloners usually get bored with their characters sooner than others, and it gets worse the closer the PC resembles their senpai. So yeah, it could be hilarious and awesome, but also embarrassing and possibly immersion breaking. I'd only really recommend that people play characters like this if the campaign is specifically set to cater to that design, so players beware. There's a lot of different ways to make a character in D&D, and some of them are a lot more creative than others. In the end though, it's your design and you get to decide how your character looks, talks, and acts in the world, regardless of how you got your inspiration, what you enjoyed at the time, or even how badly you want to RP as Diva. I'm sure it'll be fun in the long run, so long as you and the other players can enjoy themselves at the table. Do whatever you want. Like I said, D&D is a game of creative freedom, and no one is holding you back. But seriously, if you make Diva and bring her into my campaign, we're going to have some problems. Hey, wait a second, we're not done here. I want you to look deep inside yourself and ask the following questions. Am I a cool dude? Or female dude? Did I enjoy this video? Would I like more of this content showing up in my YouTube's homepage? Well, you're obviously cool, but if you also agree with the other two, consider subscribing and ringing that bell. It helps me out a lot, and it keeps you entertained, so that's 2 achievements for humanity. Hooray. Alright, back to the normal end screen, and I'll see you cool kids later.